You are living in an incredible age where you can literally build a life-changing business in your spare bedroom or your mom's basement or your local coffee shop. All it takes is an idea and a little bit of intentionality, and you can start to put money in your pocket from the comfort of your home. The problem is with these booms of online businesses, knowledge income streams, most people aren't building a life-giving business. And so in today's episode, what I want to do is share with you the 3 marks or markers of a life-giving business, what they are, how to achieve them, and bust some key business myths that might hold you back from living your full potential and truly having a business that not just puts money in your pocket or changes your life, but gives you more life. Let's discuss. Hey, friend, welcome back. Good to have you here today. And this is one of my absolute favorite topics. I love the life-giving business movement. I consider myself a leading voice in this space, and I have been championing this idea for years, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart. And so I'm going to get into all of that today, and I got a couple of cool things to announce. And this is going to be a real practical episode for you, whether you're a very beginner business owner or you're putting millions of dollars in your account every single month, like this applies to, which is one reason why I love this material so much. So let's talk about what a life-giving business is. Let's define it first. I like to define things sometimes by the opposite. What would be the opposite of a life-giving business? Well, it would be a life-taking business or a life-sucking business. Have you ever experienced one of those or seen one of those? That's what I thought business was. One reason why I never thought of starting a business was because when I saw business owners, they looked frazzled. They looked stressed. They looked exhausted. They looked worried. I didn't want any of those things in my life. I wanted a steady paycheck. Thank you very much. So I falsely assumed that to be a business owner meant you had to be stressed out all the time. You had to give up more life in order to have the business. So a life-giving business would be the opposite of that. It'd be a business that gives you life, doesn't take it away. So my question for you is, does your business give you life or does it take it away? Another way to ask this is, does your business serve your life or do you serve your business? A lot of business owners, I could easily say most, but let's just say a lot of business owners, no matter how incredibly successful of a business they've built, have a business that they say they own, but in reality, the business owns them. Is this making sense? They have built a machine, a brand, a company, a business, a platform, an audience, thought leadership, whatever it is that they've built. And although it might take care of them financially, it doesn't serve them. In fact, the opposite happens. They have to show up and serve it. They have to sacrifice almost everything at the altar of their business. Now, that might sound dramatic, but that's happening every single day, friend. I coach people that this is their reality. I read about people like this is their reality in the newspapers. We are so lost as a culture that we actually now have taken what should be a sad situation, a business that is taking our life, not giving us life, and turned it into a trophy. We pat ourselves on the back on how much we sacrifice for our business. I don't know where or when we got the idea that the more we give our businesses, the more respected we should be and the more we should be a model of how to be a business owner. I don't certainly want to follow a model of someone who has to then sacrifice everything for the business. I built my business to help take care of me and my family. And I think sometimes we miss why we built a business. So that's a life-giving business is one that is the opposite of all those things. It gives you life. It gives you business. And I believe you can have and build a life-giving business at any level. And we're going to talk about that today. And real quick, one way we're going to do this and one way I want to help you do this is I'm hosting an exclusive free event. It is my Life-Giving Online Business Summit. This is happening. It's a one-day event, August 1st. I want you to come. It's 100% free. The entire purpose of this event is to equip you and build you up so you can grow, expand, or start a life-giving business. I have a bunch of incredible speakers, including Rory Vaden, CEO of Brand Builders and New York Times bestselling author. Sean Cannell of Think Media, incredible YouTuber. MJ Gordon, who is an expert on building sustainable businesses and not burning yourself out, and more. I'll be speaking there as well. I want you to come. It's virtual, so you can tune in from anywhere. It is free. And all I'm asking you to do is come if you want more life in your business, want to build a life-giving business, or you want to transform a life-taking business into a life-giving business. So not just how to build and grow an online business, but build and grow a life-giving online business. It's free. Just go to grahamcochran.com/summit. It's my life-giving online business summit. That's grahamcochran.com/summit. Please come. August 1st is happening. One-time event, one-day event. Be there. I want you to come. Okay, so we'll be talking about that. Not just me, but some incredible speakers on practical tools and tactics to help you build that life-giving business. But let's start to define it today and talk about the 3 markers of a life-giving business. And the great news is, like a good Baptist preacher would tell you, they're all going to start with the same letter. They're going to start with the letter M. And you might have heard me say this before. And if you've been to my website, you see it there on the hero image. They are money, margin, and meaning. Money, margin, and meaning. Every good life-giving business needs all 3 of these. Most businesses don't have all 3. So let's start with the obvious. Money means you make a profit. I don't mean top-line revenue. I don't mean income, gross income. There are a lot of businesses out there that have found a way to sell something, but it costs them so much money to fulfill that, whether it's the ad spend. Oh, I had $1 million launch, but it cost me $800,000 in ads and my team is $200,000. Therefore, I had a $0 launch that I spent a lot of work on, right? There's a lot of big numbers out there, but we never know what their expenses are. And I don't care to know. What matters is you in your business and me in my business. We need to know the numbers in our business. So are we making a profit? If you're not making a profit, it doesn't matter how big of a top-line revenue business you are in the eyes of the IRS, the eyes of your bookkeeper, and the eyes of your family. Like, you're not a business if you don't have a profit. So you want to have profit in your business. You do need money. That's numero uno. Like, you're not a business if you're not making money, okay? Number 2, though, is margin. I'm going to dive into these a little bit deeper. Margin just means buffer, right? There's plenty of people making money all day long. They have 0 margin in their lives. They're working around the clock. And again, you see a lot of gurus teaching, I can teach you how to make lots of money. I can help you make $1 million a year or $1 million a month. That's great, but at what cost? Right? You would never say yes to just the outcome without asking, what is it going to take to get there? If I have to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to make $1 million a day, it's just not worth it. I physically can't do it. I got to go to the bathroom and sleep at some point, and then I want to spend time with my family. And then what's the point of making money if you have no time or margin to use that money? So at what cost is a great question. And so a lot of people are making good money, and they might even have really high profit businesses in terms of cash, in terms of one form of currency. But what about time? What about flexibility? Those are both baked into this idea of margin. If you have, a grandparent die unexpectedly, right? Or a friend pass away, or a wedding come up, or a last minute trip opportunity, or you just feel like you need a freaking break, can you walk away from your business for 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, and money still come in? The answer is no, you don't have a business with margin, okay? You need a business that has margin, that doesn't require you to show up every single day. And there's lots of ways to create margin: team, automation, tools, right? A model of business that relies on royalties versus service, digital products, physical products with fulfillment, outsourcing. I mean, there's lots of ways to do it. But even then, even if your model has that and it's not really an owner-dependent model, do you give yourself margin, or are you in the office every day? Because even though functionally you could take margin, take time, take flexibility, but psychologically, emotionally, you feel like you must have your butt in the seat. You have to have your hands on the wheel. You must be in control. There's a lot of deep-seated issues there with people who don't give themselves margin, even if they have a business that could support it. So do you have margin? And the number 3 mark of a life-giving business is meaning. Another way to say this is purpose, right? Do you have purpose in your business outside of making money, right? Hopefully your business provides a great product, a great service, and hopefully it puts money in your pocket that helps you and your family thrive. But do you have meaning in your business? Does your business help align with your life mission? Does it align with your life purpose? Or is it just a mechanism for paying the bills? Now, it is perfectly reasonable to build a business that has money and gives you some margin, but has no meaning or purpose. But the sad reality there is there's no need to have a business that's just that, when you could have a business that also fuels your purpose and gives you meaning in the process. I'm not saying you're going to get all your meaning or purpose or identity from your business. Heavens knows we shouldn't do that. And one of my absolute first videos on this channel, when I launched this brand in 2018, was that you shouldn't get your identity from your business. But you certainly should have a business that fuels your identity and aligns with your meaning and purpose and mission in life. And it's sad to see people who miss out on that opportunity. So we're going to dive into these in a second. But what's interesting about these 3 markers is, ironically, people approach these 3 things and look for these 3 things in 3 distinct stages of business. So you have a new business owner. They want to start a business generally because they need or want more money. Okay? So think about this as a beginner business owner. I was there. I started my business in 2009, the recording revolution, in the middle of a global recession. I was laid off from 2 jobs that year. I had a baby, a mortgage, a wife, no income. That's what pushed me to start a business. I needed money. It was as simple as that. I wasn't thinking about margin. I had lots of margin. I was unemployed. I wasn't thinking about meaning because I didn't care about my purpose or my dreams at that moment. I cared about eating and paying the mortgage. So I was looking for money. And I think that's a fair place to start. Most beginner business owners, the people that read my first book, How to Get Paid For It, the people that come to me a lot of times are like, hey, I need to start a business. I need to make money. That's like beginner business level. Is how can I make money? It's a great place to start. I have no problem with that. What's interesting is then I have business owners that are making money, and they might be making $40,000 a year or $100,000 a year or even $250,000 a year, and you think they would be happy. But they're not, because now they're realizing, oof, I'm working really hard. Whether it's I'm posting a ton of content, or I'm creating new products, or I built this membership and I'm doing coaching, whatever it is, they're like, dude, I need some margin in my life. So I find that intermediate business owners are coming to me for how can I have more time and flexibility? Graham, how are you working so few hours? Like, they don't need help making money. They need help making time. They need help creating margin in their lives. And so I'm doing a lot of deep work with them, looking at their tasks, looking at their offers, right? We're diving into all the deep stuff, which we'll talk about in a second, the tools and the strategies you can use to create more time. You don't find it, you create it, okay? And so there's ways to create more time. So they're realizing that currency number 1, money, wasn't enough. They need something else. And you can't convince a beginner that you need all 3 of these things. And maybe you are a beginner and you're like, oh, I think I could get it. So hopefully you are. That's why I'm trying to give this content out to you. But I'm pretty confident that if you're a beginner in business, you're focused on one thing, which is making money. And I know that because that's all the questions I get. How do I make money? How to make more money? How to make more money? How do I sell more? How do I sell more? Blah, 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 blah. That's where your focus is. Once you make money, you realize that you're lacking in this time currency, this flexibility currency, this currency of margin. Margin is a sweet gift because either you're tired and it's not sustainable, or you just want to do other things. Now that you have money, you're like, I would love to take a trip, but I don't have any time to take that trip, even though I could pay for the flights, pay for the hotels. I don't have the time, or I don't feel like I have the time. So they want more time and flexibility, right? So that's the intermediate stage. And then business owners who are making money, they've created margin, time, flexibility. A lot of times they realize, man, I need something more. Like, what am I doing in my life? Like, I thought this would be, all satisfying, but you're sort of moving up those Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like, you're moving up from those, I just need to survive, to I need to, thrive a little bit more, have some breathing room. I don't, I've got the money and paying the bills. I'm not worried about losing the house or losing out on food, but I need more time and space. to then there's another level of what is the purpose of all of this? What is like my mission in life? Is what I'm doing meaningful in any way, shape, or form? I know it makes money. I know I have a great lifestyle, but there's plenty of people with a great quote unquote lifestyle who are dying on the inside because they have no purpose in their life. And that's where the meaning part comes in. So advanced business owners realize they need something more. They want meaning, they want purpose, they want a mission. It's the way we're wired as human beings, not just to survive, not even to just live a great life for ourselves, but to have a purpose in this world and live out that purpose. So it's interesting how I think if you have a business that gives you all three of these, you're building a life-giving business, but most people seek them out in that order from beginner to intermediate to advanced. I want money first. Oh, now I need margin. Oh, now I need meaning. I want you to have all three from day one. And there's no like rule book that says you have to first make money and then create margin and then find meaning. That's BS. Like, why not have all three from day one? Okay. So let's dive into some of these business myths that these three markers kind of come out of. And I think you're going to know intuitively that these are myths, that these are wrong. But we say these things, and if we don't say them explicitly, we live out these truths as if they are implicitly true. So number one is, this is the culture of America. Money is everything. Now, no one wants to say that, right? Unless you're Gordon Gekko. You know, like no one's saying money is everything, greed is good, right? Like no one is saying that out loud because we have enough of a history in our culture, enough of that Puritan work ethic and that humility that came from sort of our humble roots in this country. I'm speaking for Americans only because it's the only country I've grown up in. We have enough of that deep in us that we know you probably shouldn't say that money is everything. And I think intuitively we don't believe that money is everything, but we are functionally living as if money is everything. Like our actions tell us what we believe. So we may not say we would believe money is everything, but the way you work, and you can ask yourself this, does the way I work, does the way I run my business reflect that I believe money is everything, or money is just one of three things I need in my business? Are you stressed about your launch? Are you stressed about the economy? Are you stressed about scaling your business, that you're putting your health and your time and your family a little to the outside? And you're saying, well, babe, I got to do this. This is really, really important. Well, like, I know we'll have family dinner this weekend or next weekend, or we'll take that trip in a couple of months. Like, are those other things that you value and care about? Because I know you care about those things. Are they getting pushed a little bit to the perimeter because money is involved and an opportunity to make more money is involved? Well, don't feel guilty we've all done that. I've done that. I believe that we have bought into the myth that money is everything. So we functionally run our businesses as if that is a truth we claim. And then we wonder why, even if we reach whatever income goal you had, $100,000 a year, if I could just make that, I'd be rich. I'd be amazing. I'd feel amazing. That's not enough. Inflation, the house I really want, the car, I need $250,000 a year. Then I'll be happy. Then you reach it. I need $500,000. Then you reach it. You know what? 7 figures is the new 6 figures. If I just had $1 million a year business, friend, if all of us had $1 million a year business, none of us would be happy with just that alone. Money isn't everything. And this is very obvious to prove, right? Because if I gave you $100 million today, but you had to give up your family, they all had to die. You had to give up your health. You had to be stuck in a wheelchair. You couldn't go do anything, never see the world, never travel. And you had to work all the time for that money. You'd be like, nah. It's not everything. It literally isn't everything. So I think we can bust that myth, but we believe that myth in this country, whether we say it or not. That's the way businesses are run. That's the way business coaches coach their clients. That's the way the gurus online are telling you. Like, that is all we talk about, and that's all we show. It's all we flash is our money. Money. Like, it's sad, but we know that money isn't everything. Number 2 myth is that, okay, well, yeah, maybe money isn't everything, but you can't make money and have lots of time freedom. You have to choose. That's another myth. Okay. I've been trying to bust this one for years. There's a reason why I make a big deal about the amount of money I'm able to make and how few hours it takes to make it. It's not to brag. It's to put a stick in the ground and show people. The people that are going to judge me are going to judge me. The people that are going to think I'm being arrogant are going to think I'm being arrogant. I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for you. I'm trying to be a model. We all need someone to follow. We all need someone to model and show us what's possible. So I am trying to use my two businesses that I've built. Both have become $1 million plus businesses that take 5 hours a week to run. Like I've done this twice in two different niches with hobbyists, with business owners. Like I've done it all, right? I talk about this at length, openly, purely to show people like you that it's possible for you. You might not want to make $1 million a year. You might want to make a lot more than me. I don't care what the amount is you want to make, but I want to show you that it is possible to make a dream income and not have to give up all your time and freedom and flexibility for it. Okay? There's two simple tools and principles that you could live by that would just help you figure this out in a heartbeat, right? I talk about them all the time. Pareto's principle and Parkinson's law. Pareto's principle, more commonly known as the 80-20 rule, is just a fact of the universe. If you look, you'll see it everywhere. 80% of results come from 20% of inputs or outputs, right? 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your products. 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of the people on your email list, right? 80-20 is the only way to free yourself from this insanity that everything is equally important, because it's not. Posting to social media is not the 20% that gives you 80% of your results for most of our businesses. Although it takes up 80% of our time. So we spend a lot of time. We're really bad at this. Like intuitively, we're bad at this. We spend most of our time on the things that produce the least amount of result. And we spend the least amount of time on the things that produce the most amount of result. So I spend a lot of time trying to bust this idea for people and say, hey, there's nothing that you have to functionally change. Like if I have a client and they're like, Graham, I'm making 500, like I have a new client making about $500,000 a year, right? And he said he's burning the candle at both ends. He's working too much. He's got a young baby and a young family, right? He wants more time freedom. That's why he came to me. He didn't come to me because he's not making enough money, although he might want to make more. We're just getting started, so we'll see what his specific goals are over the next 3 years. He came to me because he's working too much, right? So what we're going to work on is not say, oh, you just got to quit your business or just got to hustle a little bit longer and then eventually you get there. No. It's like from day one, we can start to eliminate things that he's doing after we identify what's his 20% and what's his 80%. And this is going to be different for you. It's going to be different for me. It's going to be different for him. And you're going to do that on the level of your tasks in your business. What are you doing every day, week, or month? You're going to do this on the level of your offers and products. Like I'm not going to equally promote all my products if a handful of them produce most of the effort or most of the income, right? I'm going to focus on those. I'm going to focus on the ones that are huge. And you don't know this until you put things out in the world, but you start to test and what is my 20%? What is my 20%? One of the things that advanced techniques I teach my clients is the 64-4 rule. And it's basically the 80-20 rule on the 80-20 rule. It's like going down a level. Like Perry Marshall taught this. The first time I learned this with Perry Marshall and the 80-20 Guide to Sales and Marketing. And he says, okay, if you identify the 20% of your offers or your tasks, right? Let's just take offers and products. 20% of your products that are making 80% of your revenue, right? Well, let's go in a little bit deeper because you've got 20% of your customers, really. If you look at your customer base, that's generating 80% of your revenue, right? You might have an average order value, but there's no such thing as average order value. It's not a real thing because your customers aren't all the same. There's a small group of your customers generating 80% of your results. Well, he took that concept one step further. What's the 20% of your top 20%? Of your 20% top customers that are making you the most money, who are the top 20% of them? That would be your top 4% of your entire customer base. And statistically, they're generating 64% of your revenue, which is fascinating when you realize that 4% of my customers are statistically going to generate 64% of my revenue. I should probably focus on helping those people out. What else do they need? What kind of high-end product or offer can I make for them? I'm not going to ignore the rest of my customers, but I'm going to start by focusing on those people, create something high ticket for them because that's the least amount of lift. I don't need new customers. I just create some unique offer for them that could put immediate cash flow in my business without having to do a whole lot of work. So it's things like that. 80-20, just 80-20 the crud out of everything you do, everything you sell, everything you spend your time on. And then Parkinson's law is just the reality that work expands to give to the amount of time you give it. Work expands to fill the amount of time you allot for its completion, right? You know this is true because when you were in school and you had to write a term paper and they gave you a week to do it, it took you a week to turn it in. But if that same professor said you need to turn in this paper within 24 hours, somehow, some way, you get it done in 24 hours. It's called focus. When there's an immediate deadline, you get focused and you stop wasting time and you only do the things that truly move the needle. So you can see how Parkinson's law and 80-20 work in tandem. And I learned this from Tim Ferriss in the 4-Hour Work Week. He was the first to show me how to put these two together. And it's just changed my life. And it's changed my businesses. I identify the top 20%. I ignore the 80%. And then I gave myself an incredibly short deadline to do that 20%. Boom, 5 hours a week. Did $2 million last year. It's hard to beat that, right? So there are tools. You can make tons of money, have lots of time freedom. I'm a good example of that. I spend a lot of time coaching my clients and my students how to do that. It's possible. You just have to think, right? It's lazy to just keep working hard. Like working all the time, hustle is just laziness in disguise. It looks impressive, but it's just you're lazy. You're too lazy to do the hard work of figuring out what is your top 20%, giving yourself incredibly short deadlines with Parkinson's law, hacking those two laws, putting them together, and just focusing on what really drives business and moves the needle, okay? And business myth number 3, related to these 3 marks of a life-giving business, is that if you have lots of income and flexibility, you'll be happy. Now, I should know this because I have lots of both. I have lots of money, and not just like money, but income coming in every month, predictable income, right? The dream. And I have lots of time, freedom, and flexibility. And you know what happens? I get depressed sometimes. I get bummed out. I get lost. I sit around. It's funny that happens. And it seems like oh, poor you, Graham, nice problem to have. This is why people in my position don't talk about these things, because they're going to get judged by people that have no clue what it's like to have gobs of money and time at your disposal. It just creates new problems. And the biggest problem it exposes is that if you don't have a purpose in life, if you don't have any meaning or a mission that you're behind that's meaningful to you and meaningful to the world, then you're going to die on the vine, even with tons of time and tons of money. You need purpose. You need meaning. And so I find that there's a lot of people who build businesses. The successful ones build a business. They make a lot of money. Then they start to refine it and they start to get more time freedom. And then a lot of times what happens, this is really interesting, and this happened with me, is they start to realize, you know what? I built this great business, makes good money, have lots of time freedom now. So I have a great lifestyle, but it's not what I love anymore. And it's not who I am anymore. And it's okay, but it doesn't fire me up. It doesn't feel like a life's purpose. And so they have this identity crisis. Like, well, what do I do? Who am I? A lot of my clients have had this. People that have been in my mastermind, in my membership, private clients. I felt this. I built the recording revolution to 600,000 subscribers on YouTube and $1.2 million a year business, working 5 hours a week, living my best life. My family's taken care of. I'm known for something. I'm having a great time. And then 7 years in, I'm like, I don't really want to get out of bed and do this anymore. Like, this isn't the thing that lights me up. What does that mean about me? Am I wrong? Like, should I just keep my head down because I have such a great thing? I've got tons of time and tons of money. Like, I should be happy, right? And I tried to convince myself for like a solid 2 to 3 years, from 2015 when I first started to have these thoughts of, I don't love this anymore, to 2018. For 2.5 to almost 3 years, I tried to convince myself that I was happy. This is crazy. And I couldn't talk about it except for like close friends and my wife. And I didn't know what I was feeling inside. And I realized I didn't have any meaning or purpose in my business. Now I have meaning and purpose outside of my business, right? I exist to glorify God, to worship him, to tell people about Jesus, right? To like reveal how good the kingdom of God is to people. I have meaning in my family. I'm a husband and father. I have meaning in my church. I have meaning I have lots of personal meaning, but the business seemed incongruent with like me. And it wasn't bad or unethical. It was great. And people were loving it. That's what was so confusing. But I didn't have any personal meaning anymore or purpose or mission attached to it. I once did, but I have grown and changed. And so I knew I needed to do something different. And that led to me finally making peace with the fact that I want to help people build online businesses. And that's why I launched my personal brand in 2018. And even in these last 6+ years, I've had new meaning pop up for me. I don't exist just to help people launch online businesses. I want to help people build life-giving businesses. I want to help people create more money, margin, and meaning in their life. So ironically, a little meta, part of my meaning is helping you create more meaning in your life and business. So that's what gets me up in the morning. Like that's what gets me excited. That's why I'm doing this life-giving online business summit. Like that's fun for me. That's lining up with my core purpose and mission, right? And that's why I wrote my brand new book, Rebel, which I just got physical copies of in the mail just the other day, which is so wild. It comes out September 3rd. You should pre-order your copy. Just go to therebelbook.com, therebelbook.com. I'll link to it below as well if you're watching on YouTube. Support me, help me get the word out. This book is all about meaning. This book is all about the third M. If my first book, How to Get Paid for What You Know, is about money and margin, how to create an automated business that puts money in your pocket while you're sleeping, this book is about the third M, meaning. How do you have a purpose-filled life? Like, how do you figure out who you are? The subtitle is Find Yourself by Not Following the Crowd. I don't want your business to look like everybody else's. I don't want your life to look like everybody else's. How do you figure out who you are? How do you figure out what your life and business should look like that's unique to you? That's what Rebel's all about. It's not necessarily a business book, although it applies to your business. It's a life book. It's a purpose book. It's a meaning book. So those are the 3 marks of a life-giving business: money, margin, and meaning. So the question I have for you is, do you have all 3 in your business? If you do, let me know in a comment below. If you don't, and that is certainly okay, which one do you need to press into more in this season of your life? Do you have a lot of money and a lot of purpose and meaning in your business, but you're working too much? You're working all the time? You're serving your business, not the other way around? Then maybe you need to press into the margin piece. How could you create more margin in your business? Do you have lots of margin and a mission that you believe in, but there's not a lot of money in the bank account? Maybe we need to focus on creating some offers and creating some products and marketing your stuff better so that you actually can make the sale and have high profit in your business and put some money in your pocket. Or maybe you've got money and you've got time, freedom, and margin, but it's no longer lining up with your mission or purpose, and it's not really that meaningful to you. You get out of bed, you could crush it, you could do it. It even might run itself, but it doesn't get you fired up. It doesn't light you up inside. Then maybe you need to press into the meaning piece. How can I find meaning in my business, or create a new business, or evolve the business so that it better lines up with a purpose, a mission, what gives me meaning in my life? Let me know in a comment below where you're at too, if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're just listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I want you to answer those questions. Which of those 3 M's do you need to press into more in this season? And if you haven't already paused this and registered, come to my Life-Giving Online Business Summit, August 1st. It's absolutely free. We have some incredible speakers. I'll be speaking at it. It'll be a 1-day event, live, virtual. You can tune in from anywhere around the world. And it's absolutely free to register. So please, please, please do. I won't be doing this again. I'm bringing in some incredible speakers to give you practical tools to create more of these 3 things. More money in your business, because I want you to make money. We're not just going to sit around all day and not make money. I'm a fan of money, but also how to create more meaning and more margin. We want all 3, and we're going to talk about all 3 on this Life-Giving Online Business Summit. Just go to grahamcochrane.com/summit. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to link to it below, of course. grahamcochrane.com/summit, happening August 1st. All the details will be there. I hope this episode was helpful for you today. Let me know if it was in a comment below as well. And as always, happy life-giving business building. I'll see you on another episode real soon.